artists just set out to do the artwork. The academic terminologies that develop after that, the peace-building thought processes that come because of that, for me, are results or after effects.
I would always underline the importance of well-done theater, well-done art. Meaning that we need to try to do it in the best way we can. We have to try to develop our crafts, our skills.
At the end of the day, though, theater artwork is judged by the product or products, and it can't always afford to hallow the process. It can't avoid it, and it has to work very, very thoughtfully and sensitively with it. But a lot of times, the process will be a roller coaster and even a nightmare.
How do you validate this work? How do you assess the quality? What is quality in this kind of work? Because I am firmly convinced that let's say a conventional theater critic coming to see a show, just seeing the show, the end result of an hour of what is actually a process that has been going on for a year and a half, can't do justice to that thing. You can only see, what you want to see or what your eyes have been trained to see, you know what I mean? And so I think one of the challenges is actually to develop a new kind of art criticism for community-based, participatory community arts. In the processes of creating these art objects or events, that's where also there's a certain aesthetic quality to it as well, if you know what I mean. The quality lies in the dialogue that takes place, in the negotiations between, and also the dilemmas that the artists encounter. Sometimes they want to do something, but it's impossible because the circumstances don't allow them. You know, so those kinds of struggles. There is aesthetics in that as well.
Be mindful of the time that needs to occur to build the right kind of trust with the community, based on a mutual understanding. I think a very dangerous side of this is, on one end, not to have the right sort of dialogue and have then a community come and see a work and completely reject what's going on, not feel themselves represented, not having the time to go back to the community and saying, okay, let's continue to deal with this. The risks that are involved in not doing it at its right time and its right pace are then to actually invite onto a very public and vulnerable platform, an already very vulnerable community, to actually do work that is very mediocre in quality and not given its right time to be digested, processed, and be ready to be offered to an audience. In this kind of context, the backlash of that could be far worse than if whatever your best intentions were to actually do something because you thought it was bad already, that this community had no access to a public forum to talk about their stories.
It's so important not to dumb down the audience with this work, or dumb down the work for the audience, thinking, well, we're going to be peace building here, so we better make it quite clear the message that we're trying to say. That would be, to me, the death of, that would be deadly theatre to me.
People want good aesthetics. People are fed up from the daily dullness of life. So they want to go and see something that can open up a little bit their mind and their heart. Even those who are living in rural areas, even those who do not see theatre every once in 10 years. But they deserve to see beautiful presentations and good aesthetics, because the audience, we do not underestimate them. Okay, they are intelligent, they have intuition, and we respect them, and so we give them as much as we respect them. And we believe that aesthetics is also one of the indications of respect to others.
Bad theater doesn't help anything. If people are bored by the experience that you offer them, it just won't do. So I would say the first thing about good theater, excellent theater, is that it's about something important to the people you're doing it for.
I know the work is excellent and that progress is being made when people are willing to take years. If I have to sit here for 2 years to listen with my heart, then I will sit here for 2 years. If I have to come to a funeral that lasts a week, which means I take off work for a week, I will take off work for a week. So it's that commitment to that slow process that the Western world quite often would assume means it's ineffective. To me, is a measure of its success.
Yo necesito mirarle el rostro y conectarme con los ojos. Quizá los antiguos chamanes necesitaban también de tomar las plantas sagradas, ¿no? Para entrar en otro estado, porque la conexión con el Dios, con los dioses era más fuerte, ¿no? Aquí es eso, es que tú te limpias también, tú te limpias y te renuevas y entregas toda tu energía, pero también recibes la energía del otro.
How we measure things becomes a kind of fraught question in itself. I suppose when I'm talking about theatre that is trying to be... when we're talking about theatre that is wanting to open up opportunities for transformation of conflict, I would be looking for integrity of the work. I would be looking for commitment from the performers, whether they be professional performers or whether they be community-based performers. I would be looking for professionalism of process, so one which is based on the fundamentals of collaborative artwork, of collaborative work which is, for want of a better term, democratised. That's such a fraught term as well, but one in which you're not simply replicating the power systems that are dominant in society, that you're actually offering an alternative in the actual process of making the art.
The whole pressure we get, let's say, from politics or policy makers or foundations and organizations that fund our work, they want to be able to measure the effects. Perhaps critically engage with all kinds of evidence-based or effect measuring instruments that come from social sciences. I think it has very many problems, but I'd like to also critically engage with it and see to what degree it can or cannot be used.
Everyone who wants to make an investment wants to know that there's been consequential impact. I think we're, as creative people, are going to have to find a creative way to measure impact. Maybe it's just in interviews. Maybe there's nothing to do but create endless documentaries.
That's one of the beauties of being in this field, hoping that that this work is going to lead to more conversations and more research together with the peace building field to find ways of kind of measuring progress.
Finding the sensible, the intelligent, the savvy ways to both create a connectedness between the people doing this work and the rich and important theory and experience that others around the world are having, and without trying to take away from their individual and their very personal and their very, very specific experiences, and not trying to trivialize them or to mass market them, to still try to find ways to leverage those experiences. Communities, when they are cohesive and when they're a synergy, can create a much, much wider impact.
The purpose of art, as I know, as I been experiencing it in, I think, all my adult life, is that the purpose of art is to explore human nature. Because I don't think that there's any instrument, any device for exploration of human nature better than the art. And one way to use this device, this artistic device, is to explore political conflicts and to try and understand the multi-layers of underneath this political conflict, and to come up with the understanding of not only the background and the reasons for the conflict, but also for possible solutions. So I see art as a very, very practical tool, very concrete tool of exploring political conflicts and trying to bring the outcome of the exploration to the public discourse. And by introducing it into the public discourse, to create a change in the society.
Sometimes it's a very, very conscious agenda. Sometimes an artist will sit down and think, okay, or sometimes they're paid by some organization to follow a certain strand of thought. But of course, for me, the one that moves me most, or I think the one that is of consequence, is when people just set out to say, this is what it means to be in this condition. Because, and then there I would find a thread. If a play sets out to say, this is what it means to be living in war, such a play for me is examining the human condition. And then, in terms of thinking, I think peacebuilding or peacemaking is about the human condition. And there you find a connection.
Tan importante como hacer las cosas es la manera de hacerlas y de vivir y de no establecer un divorcio entre el teatro, que es nuestra razón de vivir, con la vida. Ambas cosas tienen que tener una relación, una reciprocidad, un intercambio permanente.
¿Queremos ser artistas o militantes o activistas políticos? ¿Qué queremos ser? Mejores seres humanos.